All right, good morning. Welcome to House E&A. I'll be sitting in. This is kind of how far down we've gotten in the pecking order. So we are going to open a hearing on H.R. 18, urging the New Hampshire congressional delegation to sponsor legislation relative to and urging the United States Department of Agriculture to adopt regulations allowing for small-scale slaughter plants to use the Federal Meat Inspection Act's custom exempt meat processing inspection criteria with a third-party inspector present at slaughter so that processed beef, pork, lamb, and chevron, also goat meat, can be sold as individual cuts directly from the farm producer to the end consumer. I'll open the hearing and invite Representative Aaron to introduce H.R. 18 to the committee.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. For the record, my name is Representative Judy Aaron. I represent the towns of Ackworth, Goshen, Langdon, Leominster, and Washington in Sullivan District 4. I will get a pink card to you, Representative King, as soon as I'm done here. So this resolution is a latecomer here, and I'm introducing this resolution, H.R. 18 it is. This was something the committee decided to do in lieu of I guess it's HB 396, or I think that was the number for the custom beef slaughter bill. And because we can't really do anything with statewide legislation because it's all governed by USDA and federal government, we decided to put in this resolution to urge our congressional delegation to sponsor certain legislation at the federal level to allow for small scale. And I'm also going to, I have an amendment in the works also for very small slaughter plants. The definition, I didn't realize there was a federal definition of very small slaughter plants, which have 1 to 10 employees. So I just want to make sure that this covers them all. I know we voted as a committee on this language last week, and I had it drafted up as a resolution. And as you can see, it says, whereas New Hampshire has only 4 United States Department of Agriculture approved slaughter plants. And well, I guess I don't have to read the whole thing. You've seen the copy of it. But it's basically urging our congressional delegation to act and make some changes to federal law so that our small, very small slaughter plants can indeed have their animal slaughtered, an animal slaughtered, and then sell individual cuts to the public. Right now, they cannot do that. If you want an animal slaughtered, you have to buy a quarter or a whole or a half of an animal, take it to this custom meat shop, and cut it up, and those pieces are for you. They can't just cut up a half of an animal or quarter of an animal, whatever, and sell the individual cuts. So we're urging our federal delegation to do that, and that's simply what this House resolution does. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, but I think we've discussed that.
Representative Minor.
Thank you. So, Representative Aaron, if I'm correct in saying so, and I'm just trying to clarify this, if the person or the butcher raises the animal, they cannot butcher it and sell it. But if somebody brings somebody buys an animal and brings it to that small butcher, they can custom cut it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Representative Scully.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You like the sound of that?
Don't get too used
Represent,
to it.
Representative, so I'm totally behind this, this resolution. I'm wondering if we ought to add the word to local end consumer, so it's quite clear that we're not trying to have anything done on interstate basis to make it an easier sell to make this happen.
Well, we're kind of really up against the wall to make any changes. So I mean, I think it's just saying from the farm producer to the end consumer really covers that.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
And it would appear that I think a representative from the Farm Bureau looked like there may be
Yeah.
more to come on that question. Excellent. Other questions? I will just, it's a question in the sense of, I imagine this is even more important now that I think we all read this morning that there are more layoffs at the USDA, so that the problem that our farmers are facing is probably going to get worse. And so I just want to thank you for introducing this resolution, because I think it is a really important step for our farmers.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Representative Aaron? Thank you very much.
Sure.
So the chair now recognizes, no, this is the representative from Farm Bureau. No, no problem. Joyce Brady from New Hampshire Farm Bureau. I wonder why you put it so far, right?
Thank you. Joyce Brady, New Hampshire Farm Bureau. I would like to start with seconding or agreeing with Senator Representative Aaron's addition of very small. So very small plant in the definition is less than 10 employees. Right now, we've got the 4 USDA slaughterhouses. Everybody else that's doing custom cutting is in that category. So if we want to help fix this problem, that's what we need to focus on, the very small. So adding that will help clarify this. I just want to commend this committee for the amount of energy and thoughtfulness you've put into this. We've known for many, many years that we've had a bottleneck in the state with getting individual cuts to our local consumers. And the work that you've put on this bill and now this resolution is just very, very much appreciated. And I want you to all understand that. To your question, what this bill is asking for is allowing a third-party inspector on the kill floor. That's just about killing it, getting it in that same category of USDA approved. The cutting portion of it falls under DHHS, and that's where the stipulation is intrastate. So that kind of takes care of it later on in the process. But right now, we're looking for an equal type of inspection at the USDA level with a third-party inspector. That's all I've got, unless there's any other questions for me.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on HR 18? Seeing none, I will close the hearing. Yeah, thank you. If we could get Lucia.
All right, just trying to get online here to get the numbers for the online portal. Yeah, system's not, it's just timing out here. I wonder if they're having problems. All right. Well, we don't have those numbers right now, but I will get those to the clerk. Yeah, and this was for HR 18. Okay.
Support, I'm sorry, 4 in support, 2 opposed, and then 1 neutral, or actually, sorry, 0 neutral, so 2 opposed, 4 support.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, you got that? Yes. All right. Okay, so now, moving right along. Okay, so this morning now it's 10:44, so in 1 minute, we're going to start a work session as we get ourselves together here. HB 707. Thank you, Representative Germana, for taking over.
Got it in just before the vice chair got back.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right.
Copies of 616 last week, right?
616.
The amendment?
I emailed it to
Yeah, I know
everyone.
that. People asking.
Yeah, I think so.
Speak to because there's some confusion.
Okay, 505, 250. Okay, before we begin our work session, does everybody on the committee have copies of any of the amendments that we're going to be talking about today? Do we need copies to be made for anything? We're going to be talking about HB 616, HB 707, HB 505, HB 250, and probably have a brief discussion about HR 18. Does everybody have copies of what they need? Yes, yes, yes. Did you get a copy of 616?
It's in my
Okay,
email.
okay, okay. I have one. Do you, huh? I don't think so. That's the one I emailed to everyone. Do you have can you see it online? The amendment? Yeah? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, good enough. And I forwarded to the committee, comments from Commissioner Jasper on the, amendment. And I hope that you all read his comments. So, I'm gonna open up the work session for HB 616, and HB 707, HB 505, HB 250, and HR 18. And, does anybody have any comments on the amendment for HB 616. Representative Gruber.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And this is, before you begin, I just wanted to say this is Amendment 0999H.
Yes. After reviewing all the online comments, pro and con for this bill, it seems like this amendment addresses the issues effectively, I might even say threading the needle, trying to balance all the positions. So thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Anybody? Representative Potenza?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to commend all of the work that was done, all the testimony. I really appreciate, and he's not there right now, Commissioner Jasper's feedback. I think we're in a very good place now to move this forward.
Okay. Yep. Any other questions or comments? No? Yeah, I tried to incorporate everybody's comments from our last work session, and I think I got it all. I just wanted to bring up something. Hold on one second. Oh, yes, Representative Germana, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to second those who have thanked you already for the work you put into this. And in particular, I really appreciate, and it was, I think, an excellent suggestion by Representative Freeman. There's a line on page 2, the lines 2 through 4, the way that language has been changed, specifically the concern I raised has been addressed by the line, if the treating veterinarian determines the animal is in a state of extreme suffering, the animal may be euthanized. Because my only concern, as expressed last time, was that depending on how long legal proceedings may take, I would hate to see an animal have to suffer if the most appropriate action is euthanization. So
Yeah.
I appreciate both Representative Freeman's suggestion of that amended language and you working it into the bill.
Okay. Okay. All right, so if there's no further discussion on HB 616, we will move on to HB 707. And Representative Potenza, please present to the committee the changes that you have in that bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted the work session started off with HB 250, so I didn't know if we are skipping or whatever. It goes
Oh, I'm sorry,
250, 505, then 616, so I didn't know.
I'm going by the published,
This is the exec session.
No, that's at noon. The other one starts at 10:40.
no, it's the full
Oh.
committee work session.
Oh, it's what's online. I don't know.
Oh, all right,
It's fine.
yeah.
I mean, we didn't get the work session, recognizing that it's the same bills, but we didn't get the, what we're doing now.
The amendment?
No, we have the amendment. It was just a,
The agenda only starts at noon.
yeah,
Nobody else. We didn't get that.
Oh, you didn't get the work
No.
session one? Oh, I'm so sorry.
that's okay.
Do you want me to make copies or no? Or
No,
you're fine?
if it's the same bill in the same order,
it.
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So we'll do HB 707 and,
So you're looking at the work session that was published online?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the one online. Okay, so I've emailed everyone on the committee. All of the changes have been made in the 4 places, of course, where it basically changes aquifer to all of the drinking water wells. The other significant change is removing the penalties section that is on page 3, which basically now just changes a may to a shall in regards with the department. And you guys can look specifically underneath that RSA, just giving the department that more authority in regards to be able to deny a permit under that section. And then, of course, it has all of these different things in that section. But the most significant change is on page 3. It's mentioned 3 times. So it starts on line 4 and goes to line 11. The in situ soils, it's now 1 times 10 to the negative 4. And that's it. Everything else in this amendment has been completely buttoned up. We've made this bill the perfect balance between protecting the environment as well as of course having the other side of it with the industry. So yeah, it's ready to go.
Okay, Representative Germana?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative Potenza, for a lot of work that you've put into this. Very much appreciated. And I think that the change to 1 times 10 to the negative 4th, I think that was a smart decision. You had asked, or I think when we discussed it earlier, if we had ever seen any evidence to suggest that 10 to the negative 5th was undoable. We haven't. We've never seen evidence to say that we can't do that. But I think that, as you just said, 10 to the negative 4th, we've talked to some experts who say this is still a very strong standard. And I think moving it from 10 to the negative 5th to 10 to the negative 4th shows that you have worked very hard to strike the balance between the public health and safety that we need, but also understanding the needs of industry. So thank you.
Representative Freeman? See, I did see your hand up.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know if I'm misreading this, but if you look at line 4, that paragraph, and then line 10, what I see is.
Page 2?
Page 3, I apologize. I should have been a little more specific. I'm seeing 1 times 10 to the negative 5, and you said 4 is,
The amendment.
This is the amendment.
okay, all right. Well, wait a minute. What amendment number was that, Representative? What was the amendment number?
It is 2025-1041H.
Thank you very much. Glad I asked. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, sorry, Representative Scully.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a much improved amendment. I appreciate the work you've been doing on this. I do have one lingering concern, and that is with respect to the decision to say that we're going to have, this is on page 2 and lines 18 to 20. So we've got a performance-based criteria, which is the 5-year distance, travel time distance. I'm very much okay with that. The increase of the setback to 1,500 feet, I totally understand your intent in terms of what you're trying to do to protect the public water surfaces. But I think there are engineering controls that can be put in place to deal with your concern of overland flow. When you've got above ground storage tank farms, they build berms that hold 110% of the capacity to make sure that nothing escapes. So my only thought would be, if we're going to be prescriptive in saying you have to have, we could say that if it's going to be within 1,500 feet, that they'd have to have a construction of a berm to prevent overland flow, so we can deal with the real issue, which is making sure it doesn't get in there without being too restrictive in terms of the places we might be able to put a landfill that meet all the other criteria, like beneficial, use criteria. So that's my thought in this matter.
Representative Potenza, would you like to sit, please, Representative Bixby?
So right now, there are no, like, in a sense, engineering controls in the current rules. So I don't think that is in a sense plausible to put something in here for that. But more so, the 1,500 feet is really for a surface spill. That's really protecting that. And want to put on record or not, but we currently have an active landfill that is leaching into the river right now. And we know that, and there's issues. Even the director has talked about violations are forthcoming, that they have been put into the Attorney General's office. We don't know further details about that. So we have an active problem right now. And so for the next time that we have a landfill, if it were starting from scratch, we need to be very careful about that. So.
Representative Scully.
All right, thank you. Well, again, if you have a arbitrary distance of 1,500 feet, if you had higher elevation between the location and the water, the 1,500 feet isn't relevant because now you've got a blockage for the flow. You did say that we don't have any type of rules in place regarding the construction of berms. Isn't that what the purpose of our laws are, to say that they will put those into rules if we put this into the law itself? And I just don't want to get too prescriptive. My concern is we're not going to know immediately what the long-term impact of something like this is going to be, especially given that I don't think we're looking at any new landfills for 5 years. But I don't want to create what I would consider to be a legal landmine for somebody to step on down the road because we have prescriptively made something impossible based on something that's not necessarily based on a performance standard. So personally, I'd love to see the inclusion of the language to say that they would have to have some type of berm to make sure that overland flow is impossible, and that I don't think would be too restrictive.
Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I do understand, Representative Scully, what you're talking about. And I think if you make that known to DES, that that's something that should be included in their rules, then that's where it may be appropriate to do. But if we get too into the weeds, it'll come back to bite us, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to throw that out there.
I agree.
Can I-
Representative Haskins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's just to echo that and say that this has been a 3-month process and we're now up against the deadline. And this is not the time to rewrite it. So I'm happy with it the way it is.
Could I just
Sure, Representative Potenza.
I just want to speak because I think that this might put your mind at ease. Okay, so when the first map came out from, I think Mr. Wimsatt put that together. That was based upon a 3,000-foot setback. Okay, and we still had almost 50% of the state available via land to put a landfill in. Now that's cut in half. So that we're looking at upwards of 70% of spots that we could put a landfill. So you're feeling as if we're going to be backed into a corner that there won't be a place to put. And based upon the new map that we just got, it's clear that there will be locations, and a lot better locations than, of course, next to a body of water or something like that.
Representative Minor.
Thank you, Chairwoman Aaron. There we go. I got it out. I agree with Representative Haskins. This is 11th hour. We can't, although we want to make this into a perfect bill, we can't constantly write this thing. We have to say at some point this is good enough. Let's go with it. Thank you.
Representative Howard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Two things. I think one of the excellent pieces of advice that Director Jasper or Commissioner Jasper gave us about the last bill was to not let the perfect be the enemy of the good, right? So I think that, and my question for you would be: is it recommending engineering less prescriptive than a 1,500-foot setback? I don't find it less prescriptive. I think that recommending engineering applies further prescriptions.
Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to make a comment that Representative Potenza just brought forth, where she says that, you know, with the 3,000-foot setback and now a 1,500-foot setback, it gives us more, that much more land. But that's not actually accurate. and and this is my personal opinion, because we don't know what areas of the state will be subject to that 5-year distance of travel. And I think we also have to be cognizant of that, because there's only certain places where a landfill could be put in regards to that. So just looking at that setback, we actually have to look at the bigger picture.
I just want to make a comment about this bill. I mean, we haven't just worked on this bill for 3 months. This has been a long time coming. And I think, you know, a lot of thought has come to this committee, at least along the way, with the bills that we considered last year having to do with landfills, that we passed as a committee, and also that got passed through the House and then got squashed by the Senate. I think we've come away with at least a mind to some sort of balance, but also very mindful of the real need for protections for both humans and human health, as well as preservation of the environment. And I am very pleased with this bill, where we've come with it, all the work that has gone into it, from in a bipartisan manner, by the way. And I am very pleased with what this version is, and I am more than happy to support it. Representative Bixby.
I really don't have anything to add. I think Judy pretty much summed up my take on it as well. Chairman Aaron took.
It's okay. Representative Gruber.
Thank you, Chairman Aaron. I think this is, I'll repeat, that I believe this has found the balance that actually protects the public. I wanted to point out one further thing, is that the last modification on page 3, lines 18 through 24, where it refers to how the department may deny a permit application under this section to a person if any of the following applies, and then drawing upon advice from DES that we use the existing legislation on the condition of the owner, makes that section very clean and connect with the current legislation, current RSAs. So thank you.
Any other? Representative Howard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also like to further commend Representative Potenza, not just for all the hard work that she put into it, but for the flexibility that she found to compromise in areas that she's been very, very passionate about over this time. I think it shows a great effort toward getting us to this point.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments about HB 707? Oh, Representative Germana, I know you were so hesitant.
Yeah, I was. Just very quickly, I wanted to point out further that Representative Comtois' point that she pointed out the part of the bill at the end that refers to the need to adopt new rules. I think some of the concerns that have been raised will be addressed in that process.
All right, thank you. With that, I think we will move along to HB 505. That is the freeze-dried food bill. And I hope everybody has a copy of that amendment. And the amendment the amendment changed the whole bill, because the main bill was just very briefly saying that freeze-dried foods are not considered potentially hazardous. But what we've done, and I worked with the Food Safety Division of Health and Human Services to put together language that really covers it, as we spoke about in our last work session, to say that homestead food operations processing and selling freeze-dried foods from the homestead residents at the owner's own farm stand, at farmers markets, or at retail food stores shall be licensed under RSA 143-A:4. So they would have to get a homestead food license, which I believe costs $150. And for the purposes of this section, freeze-dried food means fruits, vegetables, and commercially prepared dairy products. So this language, I think, is really, it goes a long way to allow people to produce freeze-dried foods, but also have a little bit of oversight because these are potentially hazardous foods. And the fact that you can sell fruits, vegetables, and commercially prepared dairy products like ice cream or yogurt if you want to freeze dry it, and also sell it at retail food stores, I think is a really good plus for our homestead food producers. I also had changed the effective date for 120 days after passage to give Food Safety Division some time to develop rules around this. And I think this really is a clean way to allow freeze-dried foods to be produced. And also, someone does not require, they're not required to have a commercial kitchen in order to produce these items. So I think it's great, and I hope that you'll support it. This is Amendment 0883H. Representative Minor.
Thank you, Chairwoman Aaron. I think you've did a great job on this amendment. It hits all the high points, and I'm absolutely behind it.
Thank you. Representative Bixby.
Yeah, so I'd like to thank you for bringing this amendment. I think that it makes a lot of sense to do it with the homestead food license rather than a complete exemption because, as you pointed out, it is potentially hazardous food. It does require a little bit more of a guiding hand, perhaps. And I think that it is also a very light guiding hand, the way you've set it up. And I'm confident that our Food Protective Services will be able to come up with rules that make this fairly easy to take advantage.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments about HB 505? Okay. Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just reviewing the amendment quickly. And in section 5,
That's just renumbered. That's not, that doesn't have anything.
I'm looking at the amendment 883H.
Yep.
Okay, line 14.
Yeah. That's already in statute.
Right, but if we're requiring them to get a homestead license with an inspected kitchen, this says this product is exempt from New Hampshire licensing and inspection. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding that correctly.
Yeah, so I believe, okay, let me just get this here. This section is, for this amendment, just renumbers it number 5. And what this section talks about are products made by homestead food operations that are exempt from licensure. So these freeze-dried foods would not be exempt from licensure.
Thank you for that clarification.
Okay. All right. Okay, so the next bill that we wanted to discuss is HB 250. And the amendment that I have in front of me is 0896H. And this is the bill enabling local governing bodies to regulate the muzzling of dogs. Anybody have anything about that? Representative Bixby.
Yes, I think that this is a very good solution to the issue. It would have been nice if they'd actually printed the right thing last week, but
I know.
now that we actually have the right amendment in the right with the right title and everything, I think that this is really an obvious way to go.
Okay. Representative Germana.
Yes, I just want to say on behalf of the contingent of Keene representatives who sponsored this bill, thank you for the work to make it work.
Okay, great. All right, Representative Howard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I love the simplicity of this solution. I wish that we could reach that that clarity so easily on every bill that we do.
Representative Potenza.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. So ditto to Representative Howard. Yeah, I didn't understand why we couldn't put it in there before, like just having that be muzzling. But it's wonderful now because it's got the defined RSA about vicious dogs. So I think it's perfect, and I'm hoping this can help local municipalities and towns. Thank you.
All right. Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I wasn't here for the hearing, so bear with me. I'm trying to look up the definition here of vicious dog because it's I'm looking under 46631. It's dogs a menace, a nuisance, or vicious. And there's a lot of different language in there, and I'm just trying to find out the one section that pulls out what a vicious dog is. Because it says under this section, a dog is considered to be a nuisance, a menace, or vicious to a person or property under any or all but not limited to the following conditions. And if it barks for periods of more than a half hour or during the night hours so as not to disturb the peace, and things like that. So my question is, does that really require muzzling? I'm just trying to, if I'm reading this RSA correctly, and I could be reading it wrong, I would love for someone to enlighten me if I'm reading it incorrectly.
There are several instances, well, it's just, I guess, there are several instances that describe where a dog would be considered, or a cat would be considered a menace or a nuisance or vicious. And I believe that, if you're looking at, if it growls, snaps at, runs after, or chases, that can be considered vicious as opposed to being just a menace or a nuisance. Or if the skin of a person has been punctured by a dog and an incident was reported. I mean, I think that you can kind of tease out what is considered vicious. I get your point. I think maybe there might be a need for further clarification of this section of law at some future point. But I think making this change to 466:39 would give the towns, just as they have for restraining dogs and leash laws, would give the towns the wherewithal to say, okay, if your dog has bitten somebody, it needs to be muzzled as defined under this. And one of the other things that we wanted to make sure was excluded from this law is the section here that says it doesn't include dogs which are used for hunting, supervised competition, exhibition, training, etc., which is guarding, working, or herding livestock, which was something that someone had brought up in testimony. So I don't know if that answers your question. Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It does, however, and it's something that I'd like to bring forth probably for legislation at some point. I'm sure the commission will be thrilled with me. But I have guard dogs, and they don't guard livestock, but they patrol my crops for deer and other wildlife that come in to eat my berries. And they do bark at night. And right now they would not be protected under this law and could possibly have to be muzzled. So I just wanted to throw that out there based on this.
They actually would be protected because they would be exempted as working dogs.
A dog which is guarding, working, or herding, okay? But under the definition in agriculture, a guard dog is only exempted from the noise ordinance or barking if they're defending livestock and not crops.
Okay, Representative Potenza, and then Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to kind of, try to put your mind at ease, Representative Comtois, after hearing the testimony, I mean, this is really giving a town or a municipality a little bit of the leeway that they need for example, a dog that is a known aggressor that was being walked on a sidewalk that basically mauled another dog. This legislation would very much help my girlfriend in Milton, who literally was attacked by the dog and bitten unbelievably in the back of the leg. The owner did nothing. I mean, that dog is just running free. It's unbelievable. So this is deaf, and that dog has also, by the way, with my girlfriend, has attacked multiple people. The police haven't done anything. There's been nothing. This enabling is important, and I think I understand where you're coming from. Vicious should be defined, but where we're at now, I don't think this is going to be abused. We heard the testimony from a gentleman that has hunting dogs and all of that. We want the committee's clear that this legislative intent is being done to protect, of course, people and animals. So, and vicious is, I mean, I think because that word isn't here, in reading through that RSA, a dog that's barking is definitely not vicious. Means it's,
Yeah. So I do agree that at some point, I think maybe we need to go through this section of the law and make some changes. Representative Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just did a quick dictionary search on the meaning of vicious, and basically it says it's marked by an aggressive disposition used chiefly of animals. So I don't think there's any question to what the meaning of vicious means. It means a posturing, it means a lunging, it means a biting. That's a vicious act. And, while we can keep adding things to this RSA in order to make it more descriptive, I don't see the point. I mean, vicious is vicious. You can't interpret a barking dog as a vicious dog. It just doesn't work that way.
Representative Comtois.
I just want to thank everyone for answering the question and getting their perspective on it. Like I said, I wasn't here, but I do think that definitions matter. And at some point, I think just adding, although it includes biting and everything, we all know that would be vicious and barking is not. However, because of the loose interpretation and how this RSA is written, a municipality that got multiple complaints on a barking dog under here could do something. So I think in the future, I would like to have the word vicious defined.
Representative Bixby.
Yeah, I think the ground's pretty much been covered, but I think I agree that the existing statute has some weaknesses, could be more clearly defined. For the purpose of this bill, we can't do that.
Nope. Right.
And I think that this bill actually is dealing with an actual imminent problem, and which we need to resolve. I think that by adding that definition in here, what we've done is we've excluded working and hunting dogs. We have excluded the possibility of any sort of breed discrimination in muzzling laws, which does exist in some places.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a very good solution to use what we have for existing law. And I think that our municipalities will be reasonable in the way they apply it.
Any other questions or comments regarding HB 250? Okay. I hope you'll support this and the amendment as we go to the exec session. Our last item is the bill that we heard this morning, HR 18. I have just like 5 minutes or 10 minutes ago forwarded you the amendment to this, which includes very small slaughterhouses. Hold on, let me grab my the email. That is Amendment 1073H. So that it now reads, urging the New Hampshire congressional delegation to sponsor legislation relative to and urging the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, to adopt regulations allowing for small-scale and very small slaughter plants to use the Federal Meat Inspection Act's custom exempt meat processing inspection criteria with a third-party inspector present at slaughter so that beef, pork, lamb, and chevron can be sold as individual cuts directly from the farm producer to the end consumer. So that's a very most recent amendment to this HR 18, which I hope that you will support when we come to exec it in about 20 minutes, whatever. And that was a suggestion by Farm Bureau leader Joyce Brady to include small slaughter plants. Very small slaughter plants. I didn't know that there is an actual federal definition for very small. And I guess when we went through, and we might have changed that to small scale instead of very small. I don't know how that got changed from the beginning of the resolution when we first received it. But in any case, it's fixed here with this amendment, and I hope that you will all support it. Representative Minor and then Representative Potenza.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Can we get this amendment printed?
We can. I can run this upstairs or send it to House Committee Services, have it printed before we exec the bill.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, Representative Potenza.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just, I'm hoping that if everyone here on the committee supports it, have we reached out, because we did discuss this, to the Senate to see if they would do kind of their version of this as well?
We were told they don't do these resolutions, unfortunately. And I know Senator Innes tried
Yes,
to
that's why.
spoke to the Senate President Carson, and she said, no, not doing it. So unfortunately, we can't get a joint resolution. It would just be a House resolution. And
Okay.
any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, thank you. We are done with our work session for this morning. We will be taking a break until noon. I'm gonna get copies made of this amendment for HR 18, and we will caucus until noon, come back, and we will have our exec session. What's that?
I have the email ready to go to get copies.
20. I was just, yeah. Oh, you're gonna get copies? Okay. All right, good, thank you.
So Dems, we're going to briefly caucus in 403.
You all had breakfast. I'm starving.
Oh my gosh. She sounds like my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Go park that car in the garage.
Yeah.
Go ride your horse.
everybody to Environment and Agriculture Committee this afternoon. And before we begin our exec session that is scheduled, I want to welcome past chairman of Environment and Agriculture Committee, the Honorable Tara Sad and the Honorable Bob Hafner. Welcome. We're happy to have you. I know you will be giving us a presentation afterwards about Council of State Governments, and we welcome you to our committee this afternoon. You're between us and lunch, actually. Not a good place to be. Okay. And we have everybody seated. Okay, thank you. I'm going to start our afternoon with an exec session on HB 616 relative to the confiscation of animals from persons suspected of or charged with animal abuse of animals. And I would like to move OTP with an amendment, the amendment being 20250999H.
I will second that.
Representative Bixby, you may second it. And I'd like to speak to this amendment. So this bill, HB 616, makes some changes to our animal cruelty laws to make sure of a bunch of different points. We want to make sure that, for one thing, if we don't want to see animals confiscated unless a person is charged with a crime, except when an officer believes that the animal's life is in imminent danger. Because animals are property, we want to make sure that there's due process that's followed in these cases. We want to make sure that if a person is charged and they're presented with any documents to sign, that they are fully aware of what documents they're signing. We want to make sure that animals are, if they are not altered in any manner when they are put into either taken, into custody or put into protective custody. We want to make sure that just to give some protections to both the owners of the property as well as ensure that the animals are taken care of properly in the event of them being confiscated. And we just feel that there's a number of issues that needed to be addressed and changed in this law, in the current law. And that's what this bill does, and it accomplishes that. Representative Bixby.
Yes, back in 2018, or then Representative Howard Pearl and I and a number of other committee members worked very hard to try to make to improve due process protections in 644-8, and we thought we had done a pretty good job. And then the case in Lee happened, and we realized that there were some places where it could be misinterpreted. And I think that what 616 does a very good job of is closes up those gaps to make it much clearer that you can't take animals away without due process, and the care of those animals needs to entirely follow due process procedures.
Especially when there's lactating animals involved. We want to make sure that they're brought to some place where they can be milked properly and not end up getting any kind of mastitis or other diseases which would be life-threatening for them. So yes, there's a number of different points in here. We also cleaned up the statute and took out some language having to do with dog racing and horse racing that was no longer relevant. So so I think this is really good improvements to the statute, and I hope that members of the committee would support the amendment. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'd like the clerk to call the roll, please.
Vice Chairwoman Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Kenny,
Yes.
Representative Potenza,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Scully,
Yes.
Representative Barber,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes.
Ranking Member Bixby,
Yes.
Representative Germana,
Yes.
Representative Haskins,
Aye.
Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Wheeler,
Yay.
Representative Gruber,
Yes.
Chairwoman Aaron.
Yes,
Vote is 15 to nothing. Motion passes.
that's the amendment.
Yeah.
So I would like to move, OTPA on HB 616.
A second?
And I don't think I need to say any more. Thank you. Any other questions or comments regarding, OTPA motion? Seeing none, I'll have the clerk call the roll, please.
Vice Chairwoman Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Kenny,
Yes.
Representative Potenza,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Scully,
Yes.
Representative Barber,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes.
Ranking Member Bixby,
Yes.
Representative Germana,
Yes.
Representative Haskins,
Aye.
Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Wheeler,
Yay.
Representative Gruber,
Yes.
Chairwoman Aaron.
Yes.
15 to 0. Motion passes.
Any objection to putting it on consent?
I think that makes sense.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm going to close the exec session on HB 616 and open up the exec session on HB 707, requiring the Department of Environmental Services to establish a site-specific setback distance for proposed new landfills. Do I hear a motion? Representative Potenza.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move ought to pass on the amendment 2025-1041H to HB 707.
Representative Germana.
I happily second that.
Would you like to speak to your motion, Representative Potenza?
Yes, thank you. We've just, there's been a lot of people that have done a lot of work on this bill to get it to this place. This bill originated several years back in a different form that passed the House and the Senate. It received a veto, and I'm glad that we are in a new space and through a lot of work and bipartisan work in talking with the department, this bill is come to a place where I believe that we can all support. And I feel very grateful and fortunate that we're at this place. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments regarding the amendment or the bill? Seeing none, I'd like the clerk to call the roll.
Vice Chairwoman Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Kenny,
Yes.
Representative Potenza,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Scully,
I would like to ask a question, please. I think that the
We are in
amendment.
the voting mode right now.
No questions?
No questions
All
right now?
I would say yes on the amendment.
Thank you, sir.
Representative Barber,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes.
Ranking Member Bixby,
Yes.
Representative Germana,
Yes.
Representative Haskins,
Aye.
Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Wheeler,
Yay.
Representative Gruber,
Yes.
Chairwoman Aaron.
Yes.
15 to 0. Motion passes.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for OTPA? Representative Potenza.
Yes, I'd like to move ought to pass as amendment for HB 707.
Okay, do I hear a second? Representative Germana.
I proudly second that motion.
Okay. Would you like to speak to your motion or we're good?
I think we're good.
We're good. All right. Any other discussion? Yes? Representative Scully, you had some question or comment on the bill?
Actually, it was handled offline, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have question or comment? Seeing none, on the motion of OTPA with the amendment 1041, I'd like the clerk to call the roll.
Vice Chairwoman Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Kenny,
Yes.
Representative Potenza,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Scully,
No.
Representative Barber,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes?
Ranking Member Bixby,
Yes.
Representative Germana,
Yes.
Representative Haskins,
Aye.
Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Wheeler,
Yay.
Representative Gruber,
Yes.
Chairwoman Aaron.
Yes.
14-1, motion passes.
May I put this on consent calendar?
Without objection.
Thank you.
Yes, that makes sense.
I'm going to close out the exec session for HB 707 and open up the exec session for HB 505, allowing the sale of freeze-dried foods produced in homestead food operations. Do I hear a motion? Representative Barber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move OTP on Amendment 2025-0883H for House Bill 505, allowing for the sale of freeze-dried foods produced in homestead food operations.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Representative Howard.
Madam Chair, I second.
Thank you, Representative Howard. Representative Barber, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill provides a realistic licensing path allowing homesteaders to produce and sell freeze-dried fruits, vegetables, and dairy products with a clear labeling requirements. It also supports local businesses, entrepreneurship, and strengthens New Hampshire's agriculture economy while maintaining food safety, which we hold above all. So I believe that this bill answers for a lot of homesteaders, allows them to expand their businesses in a very safe and useful way from their own home.
Thank you for that, and I totally agree and support this amendment. Is there any other comment or question on this amendment? Seeing none, I would like the clerk to call the roll on OTP for the amendment 2025-1041H. I'm sorry, 0883H.
Vice Chairwoman Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Kenny,
Yes.
Representative Potenza,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Scully,
Yes.
Representative Barber,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes?
Ranking Member Bixby,
Yes.
Representative Germana,
Yes.
Representative Haskins,
Aye.
Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Wheeler,
Yay.
Representative Gruber,
Yes.
Chairwoman Aaron.
Yes.
15-0, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. I close, now I'd like to hear a motion for OTP. Oh, we did the OTPA, correct? No, that was the OTP. Okay, so now we're on to OTPA. Oh, gosh. You see, you guys make me nervous. All right, do I hear a motion for OTPA?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion for OTPA on HB 505. I'd like to add, this bill was of particular interest to me. When I was running for office, I had a constituent approach me specifically about these issues that they had trying a freeze-dried business. They had essentially given up hope and set those dreams aside after working diligently for over a year. So to arrive here to find this bill, which was so thoughtfully created, and then to witness the work and take part in creating an amendment that fully satisfied the needs of my constituent in particular, and then to know that this will affect so many other homesteaders. I'd like to thank the committee for all of their work and research, and I look forward to being a part of this type of work going forward. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's what it's all about.
Do I hear a second? Representative Howard.
Madam Chair, I wish I could put it so eloquently, but I second.
Okay, any other discussion? We always like happy constituents. Okay, I ask the clerk to call the roll on OTPA for HB 505, along with Amendment 0883H.
Vice Chairwoman Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Kenny,
Yes.
Representative Potenza,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Scully,
Yes.
Representative Barber,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes?
Ranking Member Bixby,
Yes.
Representative Germana, Yes. Representative Haskins,
Aye.
Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Wheeler,
Yay.
Representative Gruber,
Yes.
Chairwoman Aaron,
Yes,
15 to nothing, motion passes.
and could we put that on consent?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much, and I am going to close the exec session on HB 505 and open up the exec session on HB 250, enabling local governing bodies to regulate the muzzling of dogs. Do I hear a motion, Representative Bixby?
Yes, I'd like to move ought to pass on 220 HB 250 with amendment 2025-0896H, and I'd like to move that amendment.
Thank you. Do I hear a second, Representative Kenny?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Representative Bixby, would you like to speak to your motion?
I think we've covered it pretty well, but I'll just summarize. When we heard the testimony on this bill, it was clear that there was a real need because there were vicious dogs that were causing problems. It was also clear that the bill as it came to us was a little bit too open because it could have allowed muzzling based on breed and muzzling of working dogs and hunting dogs, which would not have been appropriate. And I think that we came up with a very neat and simple amendment that covers all those issues. So I'm happy to have this going forward.
Thank you. Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative, for bringing forth this amendment. I do agree that this amendment is important, but as I stated earlier, that we need to work on the RSA 466:31 to define what a vicious dog actually is. And I look forward to working with other members of the committee in the fall on this. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'd like the clerk to call the roll on OTP for the amendment to HB 250, which is 2025-0896H.
Vice Chairwoman Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Kenny,
Yes.
Representative Potenza,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Scully,
Yes.
Representative Barber,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes?
Ranking Member Bixby,
Yes.
Representative Germana, Yes. Representative Haskins,
Aye.
Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Wheeler,
Yay.
Representative Gruber,
Yes.
Chairwoman Aaron,
Yes.
15 to nothing, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion of OTPA?
Yes, I'd like to move OTPA on HB 250 with amendment 2025-0896H.
Thank you. Do I hear a second, Representative Kenny?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Representative Bixby, would you like to speak to your motion?
I think it's pretty well covered.
Alrighty then. Any other questions or comments? And I do hope to work with Representative Comtois to clean up that portion of the statute to clarify, further clarify vicious dogs and what that all means. So thank you for that. We will be working together on it. Have the clerk call the roll now on HB 250 OTPA with the amendment 0896H.
Vice Chairwoman Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Kenny,
Yes.
Representative Potenza,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Scully,
Yes.
Representative Barber,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes?
Ranking Member Bixby,
Yes.
Representative Germana, Yes. Representative Haskins,
Aye.
Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Wheeler,
Yay.
Representative Gruber,
Yes.
Chairwoman Aaron,
Yes,
15-0, motion passes.
thank you. May we place this on consent?
Please.
Okay, make it so. Close out the exec on HB 250. Here we go. And I'm going to open up the exec session on HR 18. And yeah, let's see. No, this is the new one. Sorry, I'm just getting my paperwork together here. I think I handed out the amendment to everybody. And the amendment is 1073H for HR 18. And I would like to move, you got it? Okay. I would like to move OTP on the amendment of 20251073H. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Oh, who? Oh, Representative Bixby. And I will speak to my motion. So again, we spoke about the inability for us to do any changes to any kind of state law regarding very small slaughter plants being able to sell individual cuts of meat to the public because of USDA laws. So what this House resolution does is urges our congressional delegation to sponsor legislation relative to and urging the United States Department of Agriculture to adopt regulations allowing for small-scale and very small slaughter plants to use the Federal Meat Inspection Act's custom-exempt meat processing inspection criteria with a third-party inspector present at slaughter so that processed beef, pork, lamb, and chevron can be sold as individual cuts directly from the farm producer to the end consumer. So that's what this resolution does, and I hope that you will support it. And the amendment just made some slight change to include the word very small slaughter plants because when I originally wrote the amendment, the House resolution, we only had small scale in there, and I did not realize that there was a distinct definition within USDA land that says that, very small slaughter places are places that have 10 or less employees. So we want to be very specific in what we're asking our congressional delegation to do, and that's what this amendment accomplishes. Any other questions or comments regarding that? Seeing none. Oh, Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank you for writing this up. As you know, the testimony that we heard for this bill was important, and this is near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. And without the federal delegation pushing this for our state, we are at a standstill. And this is something that we need for food sustainability in our state and to give people local access. So thank you for doing it.
You're welcome. I agree. And I'm also, that's the reason why we retained that bill in hopes that we will be able to enact something next year if we can get our federal delegation to work hard to try and have some movement on this issue. And so I am more than happy to move this forward. So Representative Bixby.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the Farm Bureau for having provided the original resolution that we worked on. I pared that down substantially. Then Chairwoman Aaron worked on it a bit. We got some more feedback from the Farm Bureau. I think what we have now is a very good resolution. I wish that the other body would be willing to join us on this, but the things are as they are. So we will do our best and put it forward.
Yeah, we're the better body for sure. Okay, can we have the clerk call the roll on the amendment?
Vice Chairwoman Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Kenny,
Yes.
Representative Potenza,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Scully,
Yes.
Representative Barber,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes.
Ranking Member Bixby,
Yes.
Representative Germana,
Yes.
Representative Haskins,
Aye.
Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Wheeler,
Yay.
Representative Gruber,
Yes.
Chairwoman Aaron.
Yes.
15-0, motion passes.
Okay, I'd like to move OTPA on HR 18 with the amendment 1073H. Do I hear a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Representative Bixby. And I will not speak to my motion because everything's been said already, and I know we're hungry. So will the clerk call the roll? And this is the very last vote for these House bills. So congratulations, everyone.
Vice Chairwoman Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Kenny,
Yes.
Representative Potenza,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Scully,
Yes.
Representative Barber,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Absolutely.
Ranking Member Bixby,
Yes.
Representative Germana,
Yes.
Representative Haskins,
Aye.
Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Wheeler,
Yay.
Representative Gruber,
Yes.
Chairwoman Aaron.
Yes,
15-0, motion passes.
thank you. And can we have that on consent?
Consent.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. And I will close out the exec on HR 18, and our work for all of our House bills is now complete. Thank you, everybody, for all your wonderful work. I know you've spent hours looking over pages and pages and pages of legislation as well as testimony, and I want to thank you all for your very hard work. No more House bills. I can hardly wait to see what the Senate sends us.
So no more no more House bills. I spoke with Senator Pearl last Friday, and he said he didn't think that they were sending us anything particularly complicated. So that's encouraging. And I'd just like to thank the entire committee for how well we have been working as colleagues. I think that one of the things that is really telling is that we really listen to the constituents who come before us and give us feedback on our bills, and we pay attention to the people, our colleagues who introduce bills either from our committee or from other committees, and we give a lot of weight to what the reason behind the bill is. And if there is a very good reason behind the bill, but is not particularly well constructed, we are willing to work on that as a committee and come up with a much better bill. Sometimes we make the judgment that the goal that was stated is probably not the best goal, and we have come together to ITL those bills, which is also an important part of the process. But I think that the way that we work in order to listen to problems and really solve them in a practical way is, I really like that about this committee.
Thank you. Representative Wheeler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to echo what Representative Bixby said, and as a new member to this committee, just wanted to say how much of a good job that you do as chairwoman. People ask all the time, how does Representative Aaron do as chair? The right people ask, and I tell them, you do a phenomenal job.
Thank
I have
you.
nothing but praise to say for
Thank
you. So really, though, the amount of, like Representative Bixby said, I've been on criminal justice last year, and we'll take a bill. If someone doesn't show up, we'll immediately dispose that bill. Or if someone shows up alone and doesn't have, we take the legislation as given to us, and as Representative Bixby said, the idea as given to us. And I think that's a really special thing that we've been able to do a lot of really good work on here in this committee. So I think you're setting an example for the House.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, my. Oh, my. Representative Minor.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Chairman. And as a freshman representative, it's been quite the experience working with you folks. I've really enjoyed it, and You know, the old saying goes, we don't agree on everything, but we don't have to be disagreeable. So again, hats off to you, Chairwoman Aaron.
Thank you. Representative Potenza.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just have to say that what you said, Representative Bixby, it just hits the nail on the head. Before I was a state rep, I was here testifying in Concord all the time. And I've never seen a committee work on legislation like this committee. And then just now as a rep, and this is in my second term, I'm still witnessing a bill comes and they've already determined, the committee has already determined, no, this isn't worth it. And they don't listen. And it's so disheartening. And to see how the legislative process is supposed to work is wonderful. And, you know, we're able to discern whether something's ready for prime time or not. We're ready to, you know, we want to listen to the constituents or, of course, fellow representatives and say, oh, there's a problem here. We probably can't solve it with legislation, but let's do a letter. I just love that about our committee. And like I'm getting like goosebumps about it. I just really think it's fantastic. And we have a rock star group here.
Good. Representative Gruber.
I just double or triple what everyone's saying, but I also want to say that when I solicited to be on this committee, I heard it's the best committee, the most bipartisan, where people try to solve problems and leave their political issues to the side if you look at the issue. And I think the leadership here by the chair is greatly appreciated, that we actually work across partisan divides of different views, but we try to solve problems for the people of New Hampshire. So thank you.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Representative Haskins and Representative Germana.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to join the chorus. For me, it's been about humanity. These are probably my only friends across the aisle on this committee. And were it not for that, I might not have the opportunity to get to know some of my colleagues across the aisle. And I have no doubt that every one of them on this committee would be there if I needed them. And that's very important to me. So I too think that the way you run the meeting has allowed us to do that, to get to know each other as people. And I so appreciate it, and I'm grateful.
Thank you for that. Representative Germana.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I do want to say, I think that our committee, hopefully, it should be a model for the House as a whole, for other committees. And I come from a very, very blue district, and I get people ask me all the time, you know, are you able to do anything together in Concord? And I talk to them about the consent calendar, and I also talk about the work that we do here in the committee. And I think that we struggle to be able to convey to a lot of our constituents that the system can work on behalf of Granite Staters. And I think that if more committees and the body as a whole work the way we did, that they would understand exactly what it is we're trying to do here.
All right. Representative Howard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with what everybody has said here, but I just want everybody here to know that I am committed to staying on this committee until we have eradicated every stupid pet idea out there. Starting with kangaroos and all the way down to squirrels. So I hope you'll join me in that battle.
Well, I have heard chatter the squirrel bill will return, so I just hope the kangaroo bill
That's
doesn't
all
come
right.
back.
That's all
But
right.
anyway,
That's what a citizen legislature is all about.
That's it.
so.
Anyway, I have to say, you know, and I appreciate all the kudos from everybody in terms of, you know, leading the committee and working together. But we've had some trailblazers in front of us who set up a legacy of having this committee work the way it does, as bipartisan, as working together to find solutions. And with that, I'd like to introduce the Honorable Tara Sad and the Honorable Bob Hafner, who are previous chairs of this committee, who are now involved with Council of State Governments, and who are here today to give us a presentation of what's new and exciting and going on with CSG, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing us. Oh.
This is newfangled stuff. We were over here in the corner. It was half a room, tiny, tiny, tiny. But I'm tearing up because it means so much to me, and I know it does to Bob too, that this committee, which we love so much, is as wonderful now as it was then. It is one of the few, if not the only, really, truly bipartisan committees in the House. The subject matter makes it easy because farming and then the environment is something that everybody, no matter what political party you are in, care about. And I think that every year, maybe we had 5 bills that weren't unanimous. We were always on the consent calendar, just like you. But I'm just thrilled that you're all enjoying it so much, as did we. And congratulations to you on great work.
Thank you. So, Tara is a Democrat, Bob's a Republican, and they just kept swapping seats every other year.
We did. And to add to that, when we got bills in, Tara and I would call each other. It didn't matter which one was chair and which was ranking member. We'd call each other and say, what are we going to do with this bill? And we ended up coming to an agreement on all but one. And that was over 8 years.
It really is a wonderful committee. I'm so glad you're on it. That's all. And congratulations to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Vice Chair and Ranking Member. You're doing excellent work. Now, Council of State Government. So when we were in the House for 10 years, back from starting in 2006, a long time ago, we were part of Council of State Governments. The leadership appoints people to be members, appointees of both NCSL and CSG, et cetera, et cetera. And we were appointed by the then Speaker, and that meant that we went to conferences, we went to policy summits around, and we found out that that was a wonderful organization to broaden your horizons as to what legislation is in other legislatures. It's amazing how every state does things relatively the same but differently. It's an eye-opener to go to all the state houses and ask them, hey, what are you doing on this issue? And they would show us legislation that they came up with and how they came about doing it. And it was like, oh, okay, why don't we bring that back to New Hampshire? Because it really works. And so it is a wonderful way to network with other legislators, to get to know friends. We still have friends that we've had since 2008, and I value it greatly. So once we retired from the legislature in 2016, they called us up and they said, do you want to be agriculture and rural affairs policy consultants? And we said yes. And so ever since then, we've been doing it. We love it. Do you want to say anything about it? Yeah.
Yeah, she monopolizes the conversation. Just to add to that, you pick up friends, and we've both got friends that we've known for years that were in legislatures in other states. And in fact, I have one that I talk to on a kind of a regular basis that was in the legislature in New Brunswick. He's no longer there, but he became a lifelong friend.
So just a little background. Council of State Governments has been around since 1933. We are a membership organization. The legislatures pay dues, in exchange for which we provide services, including conferences, webinars, policy summits, research, and networking. We enjoy what we do. Council of State Governments, the Eastern region, which is what we are involved in, has 11 Northeast jurisdictions, all the way from Maryland, Pennsylvania, all the New England states, 5 Eastern Canadian provinces, and 2 territories, Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And we travel around every year on our annual meetings, and we go to a different state. So this year, our annual meeting, which is going to be August. Thank you very much. That was a test. It's going to be in Providence, Rhode Island, which is a great city. Oh, you have that too. I have a few more of those. If anybody wants one of those, I have it. It's the save the date for the annual meeting. Oh, we just found out today, because our committee always does wonderful tours at our annual meeting. We get on a bus and we go out and we have fun. And this year, we have already booked a tour of Johnson and Wales, the culinary school down in, I know, exactly, that, I know. That's going to be a lot of fun. And we also are going to, what's it called? The Farm Fresh Rhode Island, I think it's called. It's the food hub right downtown Providence, and it's really, really huge with all these restaurants and everything like that. So it's going to be a fun trip. It's all local, exactly. And talking about food hubs, food distribution systems, and everything like that is very critical now, especially when we're trying to feed ourselves.
What's the date?
The date is the 17th through the 20th of August this year, and it's in Providence, Rhode Island. Now, what you do is you contact leadership, and you said, I would like to go. And a lot of times they pay your way. If you can't get funding from the state, give me a call, and we'll work something out. I'm going to leave my business cards with you so that you can get in touch with us. You don't have to be appointed in order to go. Normally, if you are appointed, that sort of guarantees you're going to get support from the state, but you can always ask. There is in the budget an appropriation for sending people to NCSL and ALEC and CSG. So try to take advantage of it. And it's usually first come, first serve. So get your name in.
And if I could add to that, you're all members of CSG.
Right.
We have an appointee to every committee, and they are voting members of our committee. So if we want to write a resolution, the committee would vote on it. But because the state is a member, all of you are entitled to come to our sessions.
And we'd love to have you, because the ad committee there is similar to this ad committee here. It's one of the best. We have fun. It's really interesting. On the bus this summer is going to be the Secretary of Agriculture for the state of Rhode Island, and he's going to talk about what their agriculture scene looks like down there. Ken Ayers, he's a great guy. What else? Oh, coming up, we're having a policy summit coming up. No, maybe she can go on the bus too. Oh, that's interesting. He's a nice guy. Yeah. We had a policy summit in Providence, Rhode Island about 8 years ago on agritourism and the right to farm. And he came and spoke then too. Speaking of which, our agriculture bill on right to farm was used as a model in Vermont because they didn't have one. And so they asked, do you know any state that has a right to farm bill? And I go, yes, I happen to know this. And so that's going to be going through the Vermont legislature for passage. And it was all because of us, which is nice. We're having a policy summit coming up Friday and Saturday, April 4th and 5th. And this is going to be in Portland, Maine. And it is all expenses paid. And it's invitation only. If you're interested in coming, let me know. The topic is, let me get it.
Yeah.
Pathways to Rural Prosperity, Small Town Resilience. It's about rural areas. We're dealing with not only loss of population in small towns and what that means for the future of the small towns, but also healthcare, hospitals closing, nurses and doctors not being hired, and transportation, as well as housing. So in a day and a half, we're going to be hitting all these areas, boom, 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 boom. These policy summits are really great because we are only going to have like 40 people there, as opposed to the 500 that we have at our annual meeting. It's only on this one particular issue. It's not all over the place. And they're wonderful. So if you're interested, please do let me know. I'm going to leave some of these here. They're just the one sheets. I'm leaving my business cards so that you can get in touch with me if you want to come. But we want your involvement. It doesn't do any good if we don't have members and people coming to our meetings. And I think you're going to love it. So, any questions?
Yeah, is there any chance that CSG might take up the same issue that our resolution for meat slaughter has presented?
Thank you very much for offering that. As a matter of fact, I was going to ask anybody we're looking for breakout session ideas for our summer meeting, and that would be a perfect one. There are a lot of state meat inspection programs that are already in place, of course, that we can't afford to duplicate in New Hampshire. I remember, because I worked on this when I was in the House and the chair, in Vermont, they started their own state meat inspection program. It cost millions of dollars to set up, and they had 28 full-time employees in the department. And we, little New Hampshire, live free or die and no taxes and everything like that. There's no way that we could have done it. So Steve Crawford and our committee worked on a new system. We thought it was a brilliant way, a solution to the problem. I know it was. Where we would have veterinarians be the ones who inspected, and the farmers would find the veterinarians, pay them for it, and it would be a slaughter and everything would be fine. The USDA said no. Nope. The money has to come from the state general fund. That's what they said. And it was like, why? It made no sense. Anyway, so I'm glad that you're doing this. Hopefully this is going to be a step forward and they'll see reason. Did you have, yes, Barbara?
Yes, I just wanted to speak on that. As you know, this is a topic that I've been fighting for
Yes. Yes.
since
yeah.
I've been here.
Yeah.
It's near and dear to my heart. And I'm just wondering if your liaisons down in Washington, if they're hearing that things could change regarding that, especially where we're putting in, and I know the Midwest states and other states are kind of opposed to something like this because of the big processors out there, but because we're looking at a small scale
Exactly.
and limiting the number of animals that can be processed in a year,
Right.
that should appease some of that.
Right.
So I didn't know if you had that. And I just wanted to put a plug in for CSG. It's a great organization. I
Thank you,
have
Barbara.
attended their annual meetings. I also went to a fellowship program. And it's just great information, and it's a great way to learn about. I've learned more about different state governments and how they operate, and I come back every time and appreciate New Hampshire so much more. But the breakout sessions and the field trips that they have at these meetings is you can't even explain how important they are and how much value they have to you. So thank you.
You get an incredible different perspective, as you talk to other legislators from other states who are on the same kinds of committees. You get really a whole different perspective that you never even thought, because our issues are our issues. They're similar to other places, but they're still, you take a look at the other things that are going on, and it's like, wow. I mean, as we were talking about, like, say, carbon sequestration in forests, I learned this past a couple of months ago when I went out to Des Moines, Iowa, that farmers are being asked to sequester carbon by using certain cover crops, and they make contracts on that and make money on it. And yeah, so I mean, there's issues and there's problems with it, but it's there, and it's good to at least know that that's out there and that's being dealt with in other states, and how do they deal with taxing it or constructing those contracts or whatever. And it's just really interesting to see all of the different issues and all of the similar issues. Representative Bixby.
Yeah, I'd just like to circle back to the slaughter issue, and one of the things about the state level meat inspection programs is you really need to have a sort of a critical mass or in order to make that work. And we just don't have that in New Hampshire. What we really need is something that is analogous to the poultry slaughter exemption, where you have a real cap and you have real procedures that make it safe.
Exactly. Is it still safe? I remember when we worked on that before.
I think that the poultry slaughter exemption is working. I have not heard any issues with it.
Selling it directly to
And,
restaurants.
and the restaurant thing is that has been successful. We actually just passed last week in
For rabbits.
a bill to make rabbits not available not only to restaurants but also through farm stands and farmers markets, basically using that same mechanism.
Exactly. The homestead food that you were talking about with freeze dried, I mean, we started out with the first Homestead Food Act, and we got so much pushback from Health and Human Services. They say, everyone's going to die. You're killing them. You can't do this. You can't do that. And we said, well, let's just start out with, $5,000 of sales. Let's just try that. It's manageable. And so the next year they came back after, cringing, and we said, did anybody die? Is anybody sick? And they go, well, no. And I go, well, let's make it count now. And you keep bringing it up. But I mean, it made such a difference in the lives of these small farmers who were going broke. They needed to sell their cookies and cakes and jams and jellies and weren't able to for ridiculous reasons. But now I think sanity is coming and it's great. Local is local. So it's nice. But
And with Barbara's question, we will take that to our guy in Washington, Fran.
we're seeing him this
To-
afternoon, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
We're going down to Hartford, Connecticut to a Capitol visit right now. And we'll ask him what he thinks about making that happen. Just like the milk orders, where there are different regions in the country based on the kind of agriculture that they do. I think that it might be a good thing to have meat inspection being the same way. New England is completely different than Iowa.
Correct.
And California. So we should have a different system and different laws that we can operate on.
And just so you know, I actually had to call in the USDA to do a surprise inspection on a USDA facility in my town. So, I just leave that there.
Representative
Okay.
Scully. Representative Scully.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Is the CSG, can they be used as a resource for seeing how different states have approached problems?
That's what we do. Yes, call us up and we'll put you in touch with other states. We'll find out, we'll do research on the bills in the various states. But yes, we love doing that. We love poking around. Yeah,
Wonderful, thank you.
you're welcome. And that's one thing that's so wonderful about being in the New Hampshire House and the legislature is that you learn how to do things like write a bill, do legal research on your own, whereas everybody else, they have staff, they have offices, and they have other people doing this stuff for them. So we're lucky that we get the education.
And could I ask that we get the resolution? Could you mail us
Here's
it?
a copy. I was just going to give it to you.
Aha.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Because I
And
want to show that to Fran.
something else that we did a couple of years ago, several years now, our committee had written a resolution on, I think it was milk at the time. It was milk. And we always worried, we do these resolutions, we send them to Washington, and they go into a circular file somewhere. It turned out right at that time, the Ag Committee in Washington, House Ag, was holding a public hearing
It was a house, it was
It-
the Farm Bill.
over in, Farm Bill, over in New York State. So Tara and I jumped in the car and we went over to SUNY.
Cobleskill.
Yeah. And we handed them the resolution and testified on it at the same time. So we know the Ag Committee got it that time at least.
Yeah, that is good. Anyway.
Representative Minor, you had something? Sure, Representative King?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your presentation. I have a question that I just find it interesting that people such as yourselves are in a situation where you're helping other, members from other states, and they might be asking you a question that you personally find like really offensive politically, because we all have our political biases. It's the same thing like when you go to OLS and you ask them to draft legislation, and the person you're asking to draft the legislation hates your idea down inside. Deep down inside, they hate your idea. And so you just wonder, how do they like separate themselves from emotionally this bill? It's like, do they sabotage the bill? So if somebody comes and asks you a question, and do you ever just hand it off to somebody else and say, hey, this person will be much more happy to help you? Or
No, you think of it as an educational opportunity. You look at their thoughts on their slant on the issue, and we're nonpartisan. I mean, we're nonpartisan. So we listen to both sides. We don't give opinions, and that's the beauty of it.
I would imagine it takes a special type of person to do that, because I don't think everybody could separate their personal biases from the neutrality that your position, I think,
Well,
requires.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's working.
And that's why they got to be chair too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to say
Yeah.
thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on being part of the best committee in the best house in the entire country. And I hope to see you at any of our meetings. Here's my cards. Please become involved. You'll enjoy it. You'll really.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
that you do, and thank you for all the support that you give our committee members, and as well as the rest of the membership of the New Hampshire House and Senate, I imagine too. But I really do applaud all the work that you do in helping us understand better the issues that come before us. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to leave the cards and this on. And I'm sorry to keep you long.
With that, I guess our committee is adjourned. I would like to speak with Representative Potenza, Germana, and Bixby prior to us departing for whatever we are doing this afternoon. Representative Barber.
Just one quick question about the break from our committee meetings, trying to arrange a little getaway. So could you just remind me of some dates that I need to be aware of in April? If you know them off the top of your head, and do you have any intel about, will April vacation be something we're going to be observing? Okay, I just wanted to check.
I don't know. Yeah, I know that crossover is April 10th. I don't know. I haven't received any notice about what Senate bills are coming our way. I don't imagine that we're gonna be meeting like the first week in April. Whoops, wrong. So I honestly don't know what the House calendar is that, whatever we get communications from the Speaker's office, but beyond that, I don't have anything planned yet for April for this committee. But I think we may start meeting maybe the second week or third week, depending on where, what kind of bills and what the deadlines are for us to meet.
So I have not done anything about this. I'm guessing you might not have either, but we might want to look into potentially doing like a tour of UNH or something in May.
Yes,
So we can-
and probably turnkey as well.
yeah. So let
Yeah.
yes. So we can discuss field trips in the next couple of weeks.
Yep. We can do that.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I also would like to invite the committee at some point when we start processing again for you folks to come down and spend some time with us and see our operation. And I'll let you know when we really get into the swing of things. I'll let you know what would be, we can come up with a compromise, what would be a good day.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah.
And just remembering that we always used to have a committee party.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, here's the resolution. Good to see you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're adjourned. Have a great lunch.
All right, I'll see you Thursday.
Yeah, you will see me Thursday.
Yeah.